Hey guys, I want to welcome you back to another episode of Pistons Talk podcast presented by FanDuel. I am joined by a very special guest, Stephen Cameron from Orlando Magic HQ. Welcome back to the show, man. It's been a minute.
Anthony, thanks for having me back on, man. We talked at the beginning of the year. Who would have known back then that our teams are going at it in round one in the playoffs? I'm excited. I love chatting with you last time, and I can't wait to get into it tonight with you.
Yeah, if you would have told me we would have been a first round matchup, I would have thought like going in, I thought you guys were going to be a top five seed. Like I did not expect play-in tournament Magic, which
Barely making the playoffs.
like the Philly game, I was like, man, they might not actually like make it. And then I see some like Magic account saying like purposely lose to Philly so we can play the Pistons in the first round as the strategy.
I promise you that's not what happened. But I mean, as someone who has covered this team and followed this team for many years and like was deep into this team this whole season, they were not trying to lose. They were trying to win. They just did not have their shit together in any capacity. This season for the Magic has been such a roller coaster. There's moments where they go on a 7-game winning streak, and it's like, oh man, things are coming together. And then they follow that up with a 6-game losing streak right afterwards. And the Celtics G League team, the Philadelphia 76ers, games to where if they literally just won the Celtics game, they would have avoided maybe they wouldn't have avoided the play-in altogether because I think the Raptors had to lose for them to get 6th seed. But it's like you would have had home court for the play-in. It's like these. It's been a weird season. We can get into any aspect of what you want, but I promise you they were not trying to just aim for the Pistons. They were just trying to survive and finally started to figure things out at the last second.
Yeah, I mean, we can start with game one, but I've been following closely with the Magic because I think a lot of people nationally, like during this summer, thought they were going to be like a top 4 seed if they were healthy.
Yeah.
But it's a shame that you guys weren't really healthy, but you're healthy now, which I think is good at the right time. But game one, man, like what were your initial thoughts of going into the game and then actually like going into Detroit and getting a victory?
So going into the game, man, I was nervous. It's like we saw, outside of the Hornets game where they came and looked really sharp, really strong, really aggressive on both sides of the court, tons of energy and effort. Effort has been a problem with this team all year. So to see them kind of have that, it's like, oh wow, finally, okay, like we made the playoffs. Who knows how they're going to show up? Detroit's been awesome all year. I think the Magic only beat Detroit once in the regular season. So there was a lot of questions on which version of this Magic team are we going to get in game one. And then when you look at this core specifically under Mosley in the last 2 years with the playoff series against the Celtics and the playoff series versus the Cavs the year prior, the Magic have never won a road game. So winning a road game was not something I had on my bingo card. I was going into it, okay, can these guys just play a full, 4 quarters of basketball, good energy, focus, good communication, and show up and make this a competitive game? There had been a lot of blowouts in the first round at that point so far with a lot of the matchups that we had seen going into the playoffs. And I was like, is this going to be are we going to get blown out? I just didn't know because again, this season as a Magic fan and as someone who's covered this team, you just don't know what they're going to show up as on a night to night basis. So going in versus the playoffs, I didn't really know. I was just praying it was going to be a competitive game. It was cool to see them come out really energetic in that first quarter and play aggressively. And it was, there was a little bit of a moment in the third quarter where things got pretty close. The Pistons tied it up. But I didn't expect them to hold a lead the entire time outside of that one moment. So I was surprised. I was impressed. I was watching it at Buffalo Wild Wings with a couple of friends and had a great time. I was nervous, but it was a really fun game, at least from my perspective. I'm glad it was close. I was nervous. I never felt like we're going into the fourth quarter. I never felt like, dude, the Magic have this in the bag. Like I never felt comfortable thinking the Magic were going to win it. There were times where I felt like it was leaning that direction, but really up until the last minute and a half, I was nervous because the Magic have blown so many leads this year,
Yeah.
15, 20-point leads. I think, don't quote me on this, but I believe I read a stat towards the end of the regular season where the Magic had blown like the most 15-point leads. And we've gotten beaten by so many buzzer beaters on teams in the regular season where the Magic were up at 1 point, 15 to 20 points within the game. And so I just didn't know what to expect. And Desmond Bain was sick that morning. He had some sort of like stomach bug. He obviously was good enough to play, but he didn't go through shoot around that morning. And Desmond Bain has been one of the more consistent players for this team. He didn't really have that great of a game offensively in game one. So it was a little bit of a mixed bag. But obviously I'm psyched that the Magic got their first road win with this core group, with under Jamal Mosley, who, that's been a question mark all year on the relationship that he's had with Paulo, and are the players tuning him out and things like that. And it seems like if they are over him, they're at least putting that to the side for the moment and trying to go all in. So, yeah, that's kind of how I was feeling going into it, and a little bit of my emotions going through it.
Well, I always love to hear the opposing side's feelings because
What were your feelings?
like I'm thinking, we have a week off. Like our last game was, I believe, against the Pacers on April 13th. So, we have a week off. We don't really know who we're playing. We don't know if it's going to be Charlotte, Philly, or you guys. So I'm like, I remember the last home game, and I was talking to some friends. I said, I do not want to see Orlando in the first round because that will be a bloodbath. And we get you guys in the first round. I'm like, shit, this is going to be at least a 6 or 7 game series because I don't think it's going to be a sweep. I know some Pistons fans thought it was going to be a sweep. Even the way that you guys played throughout the season, I thought the last 2 games is the best Magic basketball I've seen. Just from, the passing, the defense, the communication, the half court sets. Like, I think you guys have been excellent. I was extremely upset that we lost. Like the first quarter, I was like, man, they're up 18-5 right now. Like, what is going on? Jalen Suggs hitting threes. Like, this is gonna be a long night. I think a lot of fans were kind of surprised that we lost this game, but I really felt like that was like probably our worst game of the season, just in terms of just like losing the battles, like losing the points in the paint battle, which we've been dominant all season, losing the rebounding battle, losing the turnover battle. Like you guys did so many things that where I think we're just kind of frustrated, like packing the paint with Jalen Duren, which I thought was an excellent strategy by Jamal Mosley and you guys, because I felt like he was surprised at how many bodies he was seeing, and he didn't really react. He didn't react to, pass the ball or try to, find the open man or find someone on a back door. And I really felt like Cates was like, okay, like I have to take over. And we really didn't see that until the second half.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Magic strategy was to shut down Jalen Duren and just like make his life as hard as possible and make Cade have to carry a bigger load and see if the role players were going to step up. I mean, that was the strategy, and obviously worked. I'm, big picture going into game 2, like I don't expect this to be how it's going to be every game. The Pistons are a really good defensive team. They have a great defensive coach behind them. I think the defense is going to eventually turn up in a way, and JB Bickerstaff is going to come up with a strategy that's going to make the Magic's life a little bit harder. It'll be interesting to see if the Magic can maintain that same strategy, or if JB Bickerstaff figures out way offensively to kind of make adjustments, how the Magic would then adjust their defensive strategy to those adjustments. But it was interesting to see that game plan get rolled out, and having essentially 24 hours for both teams to game plan for each other. I was pretty impressed with how it worked out. And, obviously that's kind of like a weird thing for a number 1 seed, because like you would have had 2 days, but because of scheduling with another sport at the Hornets arena, or
Yeah.
no, it was the Philly, I forget which arena, but it basically caused the Magic schedule to have to go up a day, which then created less time in between games for the Magic and the Pistons to know who they're playing. So that does that's a weird little caveat to be, as we think about this.
Yeah, I also think, playing as much as the Magic did, they were more fresh. Not making excuses for the Pistons, but like
Sure.
playing in game speed, I think does matter. Like you could tell you guys were like really crisp and sharp, just the way you guys were playing. But I'm not too surprised because you guys have so many versatile players that can create their own shot, and just like the way that you guys are just so handsy and long and athletic,
Yeah.
like just all the turnovers that we had, I was like, yeah, man, like if you cannot make a lazy pass against Jalen Suggs or Anthony Black or Franz, especially Franz. Like, you guys are just so versatile and toolsy. I was just like, man, like these guys are going to be a really hard first round matchup if we're not careful with passing the basketball.
Well, it's interesting, Anthony, because like we've been, the 2 last seasons before this, the Magic were a top 3 defensive team, top 4 every like the previous 2 seasons. And then this year they've been like pretty mediocre, like
Yeah.
12, 13. I can't remember exactly where they ended the season in their defensive rankings, but I don't think it was top 10. I think it was like 12 or 13 or something like that. And like we're screaming, you have all this potential, you have all this talent. You mean we did lose a little bit of point of attack defense, in the depths of, the guys like 7 through 10 last year, with guys like Gary Harris leaving, Contavious Caldwell Pope. Desmond Bane's a decent defender, but he's not someone you want to throw at point of attack all the time. He can handle some switches. He struggles with guys with size a little bit. And so I didn't know how they were going to show up defensively. And it was pretty interesting because like Detroit's big and physical too. And they were able to kind of, figure that out on the defensive end. It's interesting to see the concept with multiple ball handlers on the Magic side finally like clicking, like, cool, kick
Yeah.
it out to someone else. They can make something and pass to someone else. A lot of guys, it was crazy, man. The Magic finally made the extra pass on a regular basis to
I
a point
know.
where they didn't do that most of the time this past like regular season. And I think it was like on the flip side, on the Piston side, and you correct me, it's where from my side, you're seeing the lack of, you see a lot of play finishers on the Pistons, but you don't see as many guys that are capable with dribble, pass, and shoot, playmaking for others.
Mhm.
If Cade passes it out, can they create something, or drive and kick for someone else? And Tobias can do that a little bit. I think he's not like horrible, but like and then you have that Jenkins guy who's like pretty good. He obviously stepped up huge when Cade was out, but this is his first time in the playoffs. It's like I think
Yeah.
there's an adjustment there. Um, how do you think? I mean, I know we're kind of going all over the place, but this thought
Mhm.
just came into my head, and it's a thought I wanted to bring up earlier before we got too deep into the game. How do you think the Pistons felt going into this, knowing that like the core like of the young guys had really only had one series of playoff experience, last year compared to like the Magic? Not that they have some crazy depth of playoff experience with Paulo and Franz, but they had at least 2 years of playoff experience, 2 series before this going into. Do you think like having a little bit less playoff experience made maybe the moment a little like too big, or needed them to settle in a little bit? I don't know. I'm not trying to imply anything, but I'm curious
Yeah.
about your perspective on that.
I think last year, like that was their first playoff series against the Knicks. And obviously the Knicks are a completely different matchup scheme wise of like how you want to attack them versus Orlando. I honestly think the Knicks defense, even with all their wings like OG and Mikal, like and even Mitchell Robinson, I think they're a little bit easier to, operate and play out of the half court versus Orlando. Um, I did get a sense that maybe there was some nervous energy with the home crowd and the playoffs. And I don't really think they fully understood that the Magic were ready to play at tip-off. I don't really think we were ready to play until our second unit came in and they tied the score at 27.
Yeah,
And then they kind of took their foot off the gas defensively, and then the Magic, they go on a run. They go like on a 7-0 run. Like it was a game of runs where like the Pistons got close, but then you guys are like, hold on, like we're gonna get the lead back. I don't really feel like they did a good job of understanding the assignment of like kind of like keeping their foot on the gas pedal. I wouldn't say that like they were shocked so
sure.
much with the Magic because they got that playoff experience last year. But to your point, like Danish Jenkins, that was his first playoff game. Now he has stepped up while Kate has been out. I didn't really love how many minutes he did get. Like I understood why JB did it, but in that instance, like I'm probably playing Duncan Robinson or Kevin Herter more. Because he said today he was looking for more ball handlers out there, which I
Sure.
mean, Danis can handle the ball, but like that's not really his strength. Like if he's not hitting threes, it's a tough watch. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. What do you think adjustment wise you guys will do going into game 2? From a Magic perspective, like I could see them going in with the same strategy, except let's try and make Cade's life a little bit harder to an
Hmm.
extent because I mean, Cade's phenomenal. You could
Yeah,
argue that he's the best player on the court. He probably is the best player on the court. Like, let's just be real, with where Paulo's season was at this year.
yeah.
Like Cade is the best player on the court. I have no problem saying that. But like I could see them trying to make that harder. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a fairly similar strategy of like continuing to shut Jalen Duren down and just quick coverage and being a pest on and off ball. But from your perspective, what do you hope to see, I guess, as far as some adjustments go?
I think what they'll try to do is they're going to try to run way more pick and rolls with Kate Cunningham and Jalen Duren. I really felt that Um, Duran wasn't really fully engaged that game. That was probably the worst game of his season. Like that was the Jalen Duran last year that I saw a lot.
Yeah.
I think they'll try to implement more pick and rolls with him. And if the Magic do show bodies in the paint and try to pack it, I think what you'll see from him is trying to make that read, whether it's someone in the corner from three or kicking out up the top of the key or a backdoor cut. He's shown the ability to be a playmaker. And it wouldn't surprise me either if you see a Star Thompson take more on ball reps to kind of just, change things up. And I expect him to play more than 9 minutes in the second half, too. I think that's been a really big talking point here locally in Detroit. A lot of people were very upset that he only played 25 minutes and 9 of those minutes only came in the second half.
Yeah, that was interesting. Why do you think they did that?
I think they did that because they were just looking for more, scoring and playmaking. But the guy that you replaced them with scored 2 points.
Yeah.
So, and also, the rotations with JB Bickerstaff were kind of in question too. He's still having playoff rotations and or regular season rotations in playoffs. Like, I didn't see too many coaches this playoffs have 11 deep. Like
Yeah.
you got to shorten your rotations. You got to play the best guys possible. I mean, you could look at our game logs. Like you got Javonte Green 5 minutes, Karis LeVert 4 minutes, Ron Holland 10 minutes, Kevin Herter 17 minutes. I think JB has to do a better job of shortening his rotations and playing the best guys out there.
From a Magic perspective on shortening rotations, I was like actually pretty surprised because Mosley has gone like 10 to 11 like every single game in the regular season, and he went to 9, and Jamal Cain on our side, like
Yeah,
he didn't even play 9 full minutes, so it was like he was playing 8 most of the time with a little bit of sprinkle of Jamal Cain here and there. Someone like Javon Carter, who's ever since the trade deadline when we acquired him, he missed 2 games and then played every single game after that. He didn't play. I don't think he played in the Hornets game. They're not playing Mo Wagner either, who has been kind of in and out of the rotation since his injury return. Noah Penda had gotten a good amount of run with the absence of Jonathan Isaac the last month or so, as Jonathan Isaac's been dealing with some sort of like knee injury.
yeah.
Um, He might be available later. It seems like he's close to returning, but even if Jonathan Isaac does return, I don't expect him to be in the rotation. I think we are seeing the rotation that is going to play unless someone gets into foul trouble and they need to expand it a little bit. But yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting to see you guys go a little bit wider on the rotation.
Yeah,
I would expect that to change too on your side.
I hope it does. I actually want to ask you like concerns on your end, like
Yeah.
from a just a perspective from a Magic's fan, like what concerns you about the Detroit Pistons for the rest of this series?
Well, the defensive adjustments that are going to be
Mhm,
made, like the
mhm.
Magic haven't been a great offensive team. They ended the year, I think, 19th in the offense. They have plenty of guys that are capable of creating offense and hitting big shots, but we haven't seen that consistency all year. We have guys that are. Anthony Black hasn't really had a lot of playoff experience yet, and he hasn't been as consistent since coming back from his oblique injury earlier in the kind of the later part of the second half of the year. Franz Wagner, like I love Franz. He's been awesome in the regular season. He's like last year his playoff performance was okay, but the year prior versus the Cavs, it was not very good. I mean, pretty much the only people that I trust to be consistent in the playoffs going forward is Paulo and Desmond Bain. Wendell Carter, like I could see you guys ramping up physicality around him and him starting to shy away from being aggressive and looking to score. He is someone that often can struggle with physicality on the more emotional side, and it'll make him a little bit more timid. So I could see that being a very real thing, and like an adjustment that you guys do is like, hey, okay, like Wendell Carter crushed us. Had 17 points and at the 7 rebounds. Like, let's make his life really hard. And I could see that being a factor in him kind of going back into his more timid shell a little bit. That's what worries me. I'm not worried about Paula being affected too much. Like, we have data of him being a playoff performer and stepping up in the playoffs. We have 2 years in one game right now that prove that, despite his kind of up and down season. But I question if our guys will respond to the physicality that's about to hit them, because it's not when it's going to probably in the very next game. And also, like, Jalen Suggs, he went 6 of 16. Had 16 points. It wasn't the most efficient night. He went 30 on, 3 for 10 from three. He has not been good shooting on the road this year, and he's been much better at home. So, like, I want to see how he does. Not that he had some amazing efficient game in Detroit on Sunday, but I'm interested to see how he responds and plays in game two, because you could get a game that he goes off and plays very well and gets you
Yeah.
22 points on 12 shots or something like that, or he could shoot 15 threes and hit two of them. And that is something that because like he gets a little trigger happy, and can get a little scattered, particularly when defenses are putting more pressure on him. So I it's just, how are they going to respond when the physicality ramps up, right? And like I mentioned, the only people I'm not too concerned about is Paulo, and I bet Desmond will probably have a better game after as he's feeling better. He's sounds like he's feeling fine now. So it's just more like, are we going to have another like pretty good game from Franz, who is still not 100% in his lower body, if they decide to be more physical with him. Yeah, that's kind of where my head's at with it. What about you? What are your concerns?
My biggest concerns is going to probably be Paulo because I know Tobias was guarding him, but it's probably the best I've seen Paulo Banchero all season, because I
Yeah.
know this season was very up and down. He was hitting shots that I didn't see him hit this year, and I was just like, one of my buddy that lives down in Florida, he joked, he's like, he finally figured out that he's 6'10", 250. He's actually using his frame now. So
Yeah.
it's like,
That
um,
dunk, Magic fans were like, we haven't seen him get that high all season. Where did this come from?
I think he's playing at an all-time high, just confidence level
Yeah.
wise. Like, I saw so much discourse with him, and it was so nasty this year where people were blaming him for the reason why the Magic were losing, and it's just like, he wasn't a number 1 overall pick for no reason. Like, he's a
Yeah.
good basketball player. He's probably the one player that I am very concerned with, and I'll give you another player that I think could give the Pistons some problems if they don't address him. Um, I think if they don't, clean the glass, Goga Batadze could be a really big problem for the Pistons off the bench. I think he's a really underrated big as well. I don't really think he gets talked about a whole lot nationally. I think he could be a really big X factor for you guys. I know we have Isaiah Stewart out there, but this team often will look at a ball and no defensive rebound, and you see like the Magic, you see like Desmond Bain or Anthony Black just kind of just hustle for a rebound, and it's because Goga Batadze is like kind of holding up Isaiah Stewart. I mean, those are the two guys that I'm really worried about personally.
Yeah, I mean, Goga's not going to light up the box score for us, but he's
Yeah.
going to be out there and be a presence that potentially could cause some issues. He only got him 11 minutes in the last game, but again, if we see Wendell Carter starting to struggle with some of that physicality, which like Anthony, I'm saying is going to happen. Like we will probably not. We'll probably have a game or two where Wendell Carter might shrink back a little bit. And that maybe we see Goga's minutes get bumped up to like 15, 16 minutes in that case. And I wouldn't be afraid because Goga's not one to shy away from physics. I mean, he's a chirpy dude. He's not afraid to
Yeah.
get into it with anyone. So yeah, I agree. That's like a good flag for you to have. Again, he's not going to be a guy that's going to go throw up 12, 15 points on you guys. Like you don't have to worry about him scoring too much. Like he's kind of a play finisher for the Magic. But like you said, like boxing out other players, getting up, being aggressive on the glass with rebounding, like that is what you'll expect out of him and on a good night, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's kind of like a under the radar bench piece. I know, I remember the Luca Goga stuff on the timeline this year. I was like,
Yeah.
bro, like what? Like I've never heard him talk crazy like that. Because I remember back when I worked for Wave Sports, like I remember like we interviewed him because everyone was like on Zion, and like
Yep.
we were over there like interviewing him, and I was like, man, like that's like a really hardworking kid. Like he's probably gonna make it pretty far in the NBA. But yeah, man, it's Goga does concern me. Like Anthony Black does too. He's just such a pest defensively, and I felt like he kind of figured it out a little bit offensively this year. But I know he's kind of been dealing with that oblique tear, like you mentioned. I don't know if he's 100% healthy, but I mean, you guys just have so many versatile defenders that it does worry me.
What are your thoughts on your guys' shooting with guys like Kevin Herter and Duncan Robinson? Like how do you expect them to like perform going into the next game?
I expect Kevin Herter to be a little bit more aggressive. He didn't really do anything game one. Seemed like he started to get his confidence, after he did get traded to Detroit. I mean, he was shooting over 40% from three after that trade with Jaden Ivey. And Duncan has kind of been a playoff riser, throughout his career. So
Yeah. I mean,
I
he had
was
some
kind of
big shots.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure Magic fans know that very well from him being on the Heat, like just some of the crazy heaters he's been on throughout his career. But I mean, those two in particular, I think the Pistons will be really leaning on heavily. But I think either one of them will probably have a game where it'd be like, oh, like they got like 15, 20 points because they just can't miss from three. I do expect Kevin Herter to probably get the most bench minutes from the Pistons. I think that's the player that JB Bickerstaff has kind of fallen in love with. He led, I believe, the bench minutes. Him and Isaiah Stewart had the most minutes off the bench, but would not be surprised if you see him out there with Cade Cunningham in the backcourt.
Do you think I'm just looking at the box score from the last game with the minute distribution and stuff like that? When you and I had touched earlier on how wide the Pistons rotation was, do you think they're gonna tighten it down and guys like Karis LeVert and Javante Green, where they both had just over 4 minutes, you think they're gonna get like completely squeezed out?
That's a good question because Javante Green has been such a glue guy for us in a sense where like JB has like really relied on him to be out there with the second unit with Ron Holland. I was surprised that he only got 5 minutes. I didn't really understand it's kind of the rotations in general. But maybe Karras does get squeezed out. I would be extremely shocked because Karis LeVert was probably the one constant all regular season where
Yeah.
Pistons fans were actually crashing out because he was getting so much playing time and the productivity was up and down.
Yeah, that makes sense. What's your biggest fear? Not necessarily like for an individual player, but what's your biggest fear going into like the rest of the series? Because I
If the
can tell
Met
you mine.
Yeah. I think my biggest fear is if the Pistons lose tomorrow. They go down 0-2 against the Magic. I think that's my biggest fear because then we have bigger concerns and questions to ask about with this team. Even though we did finish as the 1 seed, I still feel a lot of Pistons fans have very high expectations. Like before the season, it was make the playoffs, win a first round playoff series. If you win 60 plus games and you go down 0-2 against the Magic and you possibly don't get out of the first round, changes are going to have to be made.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. For me, it's seeing the offense crumble when the defense from the Pistons ramps up.
Mhm.
We mentioned earlier that the Magic did a really good job of keeping the ball moving. We didn't see too many plays where, I mean, there's plenty of plays where Paulo had the ball and, dribbling 2 or 3 times and he's either scoring or passing out. Um, but most of the time that led to something good. And there's plenty of times where, if the Magic are not moving and they can just get very stagnant
Yeah.
with, okay, let's give Paul the ball. Things aren't working. They don't create a second action. No one comes up to set a screen. And they kind of just stand around and watch him try and make something out of nothing. And I get a little worried that they could fall into those habits again. And I mean, if they do that, then I'm like, you might be able to stop them from scoring points, but if you can't score points on the other side of the ball, then we have a problem here.
Yeah.
Um, I wouldn't be surprised if we have a game where it's like first to 100 is end up being the person that wins and like with the physicality on both sides from our team and the Pistons to where it's like both teams are struggling to score pretty aggressively. So that's kind of where my head goes. But I do feel a lot of pressure being relieved by getting one win
Mhm.
on the road. That's really huge for the Magic and doesn't mean I have confidence that they're going to get out of this second round or get out of this first round and go into the second, but it's like, okay, we can make this a series. Like, we also could get swept the next 4 games. But I don't expect that. I expect this to go 6 or 7 games for sure. Like, the Pistons are going to come back and respond pretty well, in my opinion.
Yeah, like I said, it's going to be an interesting series. I still see this being a 6 to 7 game series. I'd be very surprised if either team just lost 4 straight,
Yeah.
or in your case, you guys only need to win 3 more. I'd be very surprised, but I think tomorrow's game is definitely going to be very entertaining. Um, I did want to kind of like transition into kind of like the social media aspect.
Sure.
There's been a lot of trolling by both sides, I would say.
Yeah.
Did you see the Orlando Magic social team kind of like jab at Detroit?
Yeah.
So
I
you
did.
probably know where I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
so
see it.
this is like you can kind of look at the graphics. So the Pistons, I'm pretty sure they played the Hornets end of the season, and this is the graphic they made. And then Orlando makes a very similar graphic, and then they go Orlando versus everybody. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Did you see what was that guy's name? He did I forget what's his name. Maybe it was Worldwide Wob or something like that. He
yeah.
did the Eminem on 8 Mile clip over the Orlando Magic song where Eminem is just freezing up. That was pretty funny too.
I will say like a lot of Detroiters, because like the versus everybody thing is actually like trademarked here.
Is it
Yeah,
really? I didn't know
yeah,
that. Oh
yeah.
God, that makes this post even more entertaining.
Yeah, I said the Magic's admin, they're petty. They're
They're pretty
petty.
good, dude.
They're pretty funny. I will give them kudos for the versus everybody. I did see a lot of Pistons fans and even people that work for the Pistons saying, "Oh hell no!" Like like
Good, good,
the little troll worked. I did a little bit of trolling myself.
good.
I don't know if you saw it. I
I don't think
posted.
I did, but yeah,
I'll,
let me
I'll,
see it if
I'll
you did. You'll have to
I'll tell
send
you
it to
what.
me afterwards. Yeah.
I'll tell you what I did. For people that follow me on Twitter. So Angel Reese is the boyfriend of Wendell Carter.
Oh, I did see this.
Yeah, and I'm sure you saw what I did. Like,
Yeah, with the dunk.
no, she dated Jalen Duren,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
there was a video of her in a Pistons hoodie. So I said, "Let's go. Let's get locked in."
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's a good one, dude.
I think that's why she replied with Wendell dunking by Jalen Duren.
Someone else took that video that she did, and there's this like one clip where it's like Jalen Duren is a little bit more of the prominent player in there, and they just like freezed it on there. So it almost is like you can't tell which player she's talking about. And they posted that, and it was just, dude, it just went off the rails. It was so funny.
I was honestly like, I'm all for like shit talking. I'm
Yeah.
all for just like trolling because I think that's what makes fandom so fun.
There's a
Uh,
line, but as long as you're not going over the line, let's have fun.
I will say Magic fans are
Create
way
some
more
rivalry.
Magic fans are way more tolerable than Knicks fans.
I appreciate that because I sometimes I can't stand the Magic fans.
Like there's some like I like even like when I posted that Angel Reese picture, they're like, "Man, fair is fair. That's hilarious." Like I'm
Yeah.
dying over here. Like I'm all good for a good troll. I know I have had some Magic fans reach out to me like, "We're gonna kick your ass, you sucker." I was like, "Hey,
Oh,
let's go,
sure.
man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For
It's like
sure.
let's talk shit, man. Like let's start a
Yeah.
group chat. Let's go."
Let's go. Yeah. And I mean, like, if anyone follows me, they know how I come. Like, yeah, let's have some fun, talk a little shit, but let's be cool about it too. Like, let's be polite in
All
some
right.
ways. Yeah. Like, there's a line. Let's not cross the line, but let's have a lot of fun.
I know that the Voss family is from Michigan. That's why you guys have so many Michigan and Michigan State players on your team.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, gosh, half our roster came from Michigan State.
So the Orlando versus everybody, I think kind of was just like a little jab at the Pistons.
Oh,
Like, hey,
sure.
like, hey,
Well,
watch
dude, the
this.
admin will do some crazy stuff. They'll take like a clip from, any random team and like a highlight, and then they'll turn it into like their intro to the play the song tweet that they're gonna post.
Yeah.
So that's yeah, because that's the whole I'm sure you've seen the play the song videos that they post where it's like
Oh,
some
yeah.
random GIF or clip, and they'll take clips of like Knicks fans and like after arena like interviews, and then they'll turn that to the intro of that. I'm sure like, well, let's just if the Magic happen to get a couple more wins in the series, let's see what the admin posts, because I'm sure they're gonna have some fun with it.
It's funny because the play the song thing, like that's a whole nother debate that I've
Oh
seen
yeah.
because like that
Don't
has
you
been
guys do something similar?
so that has been a Magic thing, and I will say the Orlando Magic's theme song after a game is really damn catchy.
Yeah,
It
it's
is,
fun.
it's really damn catchy. So we had a local artist here, sing the Pistons won again, and like it wasn't really a thing until like last year, and then even like the Pistons and like FanDuel had picked it up like on their broadcast, where like now they say like play this song. But I saw some Magic fans like, "Hey, you stole play the song from us." I was like, "Hey, man, like."
Well, on the post where you announced that we were going to do a podcast together, someone in the comments was like, "Steven, make sure you play the song." Like, all right, we can talk about it.
Yeah, GMAT. Shout out to GMAT Cash. I know. I see
Well,
Truth Over Emotions. That he's got like the Pistons won again, the Red Wings won again. Well, it's not too much because they choked in the playoffs like crazy. But yeah, he does like all the theme songs here in Detroit. But like, I will say the Magic's theme song is very catchy. I'm
it's
not even
fun.
gonna lie.
It's fun. It's funny. They did it right after the season of Light the Beam because of all the
Yeah.
traction that Light the Beam got, which to
Mhm.
me was still like that's kind of one of the best ones. I mean, granted, it doesn't have that same like feel to it because the Kings are just the Kings, but like that one season, it just grabbed so much fun and energy. And it's like I think there's something cool about a physical thing you see that like
Yeah.
projects from the building versus like, if you don't have audio playing, like you have no idea what this actually means. Compared to like, oh, we're hitting a button that's gonna light a bright ass light into the sky. But yeah. So it's like we kind of copied. Hey, we need to do something like the Kings. Let's play this song from the 80s that was produced. Something funny, that song was originally made by like a Magic fan that like him and like the dude and his son were like drunk off whiskey. And like they were like I'm pretty sure they're like hammered out of their mind when they wrote that song. And yeah, it's funny. It's pretty funny. I got a question for you. Okay, so and this is back to basketball for a second.
Okay.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your like 10 being I'm really nervous, this sucks, or like, and 1 being cool, calm, and collective, like, no, we're good, we got this. Like, where are you on that level?
I'm like at a 5.
5.
Like, I could see areas where the Pistons just adjust and come out and they win by like 12 to 15 points tomorrow. But I could also see a situation where Desmond Bain could go off for 50 because I've seen it. I've been to games when he's terrorized the Pistons, and pretty sure he's still pissed off that we promised to draft him years ago, and then we drafted Sadiq Bey. Like that could be kind of be like, I don't know if you saw, like
I didn't know that actually about him.
Yeah, he was screwing with Isaiah Stewart pregame when we were doing our intros. They went over there, and Isaiah Stewart's like, "Nah, man." Like even like the team security, like they're pushing him away. Like I respect the good troll. It's a good troll.
He's such a terror, dude. And like we've all seen the clips with him like spiking balls at people. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we see that at some point during the playoffs. That's okay. Level 5, that seems pretty legit. I'm kind of there too. I'm going into this, I was like a level 8. And after game 1, I'm like, okay, let's drop down. Like there's some things that they did in game 1 that should be repeatable the rest of the series, that should lead to some success, at least, make it competitive. I don't expect the Magic to win every game. I'm not that confident, but I wouldn't be surprised if they got out of this round, but at the same point, I'm not expecting it either, if that kind of puts a gauge. But like, yeah, I think 5 is like kind of there. A little bit more confident than I was going into it, but not like I'm not cool, calm, and collective into this yet.
So I talked to a buddy of mine. He hosts Locked On Pistons for the Locked On Network. And
yeah.
I talked to him like where he's feeling, and he's like, "No, man, they're not winning another game. Like this is like that was such a fluke game." I was like,
it's possible.
"Oh, you thought it was a fluke?" Like I don't know, man. Past 2 games, they played pretty damn good. Like they played really good against Charlotte, but Charlotte doesn't like physicality. They think they do, but they really don't.
They
like
don't.
Physicality.
No, they don't.
No, after that first quarter, I was like, man, this game's over. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing there. And like the way you guys started the first quarter and just played pretty decent like throughout the game, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be like a fun, entertaining, like 6-7 game series in my opinion. But I was kind of surprised to hear like another Pistons podcaster's perspective where he's like, yeah, like we don't lose the margin battles. We'll probably win the margin battles for the rest of the season. We're the best like paint team. We were the second best defense. Like we didn't do any of that. I was like, maybe you're right. We'll see. Playoff basketball is a little bit different.
Yeah, it is. Playoff basketball is very different. And it's gonna be a good series. At least I hope so. I would love for I mean, if the Pistons come out and win the next 4, I will be very sad. I hope it's a fun series, even if the Magic don't get out of it. Like, let's make this go 6 or 7 games. That would be my hope, even if the Magic don't get out. Because I want to see some fun playoffs. I don't want to see blowouts and fast sweeps. I want long series. That's what I watch basketball for.
I think the networks want that too. To make their money. They don't want no sweeps. I will say though, like looking at the schedule, I've never seen so much time on a first round series. Like,
this is weird.
Yeah, it's like I'm used to like every other day. Like this is like it's really
game
weird.
Wednesday and then a game on Saturday.
And then they had to change the time for game 4 to 8 o'clock. I'm like, "What,
Yeah.
bro? What are we doing over here?" Like,
For
this
someone
is
who's on the West Coast right now, like, I appreciate that because that's where I
I
live now.
bet.
I don't live in Florida anymore. And like these 4:30 starts on my side when they're starting at 7:30, I'm like, "Yo, I'm still at work here. Like, what are we doing?" So it's nice. I was psyched to kind of see game 4 get pushed to 8. I'm like, "Oh, cool. I can actually watch this one." But yeah, it's been long because doesn't well, isn't it after correct me, you probably have the schedule more memorized than I do. So we play again on Saturday, but that doesn't it start going like every other night? Like, after Saturday, it goes back to Monday and then Wednesday.
I could pull up the schedule actually right now because I did see it when I was making a game day graphic. So tomorrow at 7.
Yep.
Then, like you mentioned, April is 1 o'clock. Then, yeah, every other day. So Monday is on Peacock. Just stick to one network, man. Like, why does it have to
Yeah,
be
come on.
ESPN, Peacock, Amazon? Like, why am I paying for? That's a whole other rant that I don't want to even go down that rabbit hole
It's
right
an
now. Like,
off-season conversation for you and I.
oh my god, man! Like, it's just stick to one network or
This
just.
almost was my off-season though, so it's okay. I'm happy to be talking playoffs right now.
Well, I do want to get into our segment presented by FanDuel with the odds for tomorrow's game, which I was kind of surprised. So when the odds came out yesterday, they were actually at minus 9.5 favoring the Pistons. Right before we went live, they went down to 8.5, and that was the same lines for game 1. So do you like to see the Magic are underdogs going into game 2?
No, man, I'm not surprised. I mean, I don't like to see it, but I'm not surprised. It's a road game again. They've won one road playoff game in the last 3 seasons in the playoffs, and that was on Saturday or Sunday. So I'm not surprised. The Magic have been a very inconsistent team all year. This was a team that was supposed to win 55, 50, 55 something games this year, and they've and be a top 5, top 4 seed in the East, and they barely made the playoffs again. Like they easily could have missed the playoffs. And they just happened to match up with the Hornets. So I'm not surprised. And again, like we talked about, I expect Detroit to make some really good adjustments. They're gonna play a better defensive game, and that can cause a lot of issues for this Magic team that have had struggles all season offensively. So I don't love it. I'd love to be more confident in my team to be able to like, oh, those odds suck. Those lines are awful, but that seems pretty fair. That seems pretty fair.
I'm kind of surprised that they're that high for the Pistons. I like when I saw like 8.5, I was like, I don't see this being a blowout. I see this being like maybe like a 3 or 4 point
Yeah,
victory. Like I see
yeah.
it being extremely close. So like when I saw like 9.5, I was like, even though the Pistons probably played one
Nine
of
and
their
a half would have surprised me a lot. 8.5 doesn't feel as bad.
yeah, like even though they played like really bad on game 1, like I still see the Magic, giving them some test. Like for both sides. Like I don't really see either of these games being like a blowout unless the Pistons just get red hot from 3 all of a sudden, which wouldn't really surprise me because they were shooting like I think 6th best 3-point percentage the last month of the season. So we'll have to see if they can get the 3 ball back.
We'll find out. I mean, we'll know in 24 hours, my man. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. So I do want to get your predictions for tomorrow. So I know we kind of talked about like game plans. We've talked about kind of like what we're concerned about, but if you had to make a prediction, are the Orlando Magic stealing 2 games at home against the Detroit Pistons?
Bias take, and then I'll give you a neutral take. Bias take, hell yeah. The Magic are going to come out, double the pressure, double the energy, and just overwhelm the Pistons again. We're going to go back to Orlando, up 2 games. That's completely not going to happen. My neutral opinion is I expect it to be a very competitive game, and I think we're going back to Orlando 1-1.
Okay.
What
I
about
think
you?
so. I think so too.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I'm happy that game 1 happened. I think the Pistons needed to get punched in the mouth to say like, hey, like you guys were in the playoffs. Like you can't play half-ass. You have to play for full 48. You have to keep your foot on the gas pedal. I do see the Pistons knotting up the series at 1, and it's funny. last playoffs we lost to the Knicks and we got our ass kicked. The rest of the series was highly competitive. I think they'll take it a little bit more seriously. They'll be more locked in. I don't think there'll be as much of a layup line for the Magic. I hope not, because felt like Franz and Anthony Black and Jalen Suggs, they were just getting by our point of attack defenders, and then it's just living in the paint. But I do see it be a good game, maybe like a 6-point victory for the Pistons tomorrow.
I got one more question for you.
Okay.
What do you over under one fights this series?
Ooh.
We haven't talked about that because we got Desmond Bain, chirpy, spiking balls on people, Isaiah Stewart. Like, we got these are not teams that are not known to get a little physical and have a little I could see some fights breaking out. What do you think about this? I don't necessarily want to see a fight, but I mean, like, just how physical these teams play and how chirpy both these teams are. Like, I don't know, man. What do you think? Am I way off the rails thinking we might see some on-court drama?
When was the last fight? The Killian punch the Mo?
I think between the two teams, yeah. But I mean, I feel like each team have had something go on this season.
Oh, 100%. I That's a good one. I think the only way that there is a fight maybe is if you guys go in and like just handle business, and maybe you guys are chirping a little bit, there could be a fight. I'm gonna say that the Pistons are going to be smart, because I think the Hornets fight kind of like, hey guys, like let's kind of chill out. I can't have Isaiah Stewart coming off the bench just like trying swinging at people like he did Miles
Sure.
Bridges. I can't
Yeah.
have that. But I don't think you guys have someone like Musa Diabate who's just gonna scream in Jalen Duren's face for like no
Sure.
reason.
You
After
might get a
like,
ball spiked at you by Desmond Bain, though.
bro, I'm sorry. I laughed when
So
I've seen
funny,
it. Like
dude.
I'll be scrolling on social media, like I see you guys post on Instagram, and like I saw the ball spike. I was like, bro, like what the hell is this guy's problem? I think
You
didn't
know
get
he's done it like 3 or 4 times this year.
like no suspension. Like what are we going? Like what are we doing, bro? Playing dodgeball out here.
It's pretty entertaining, dude. I mean, I don't think he's like trying to be. I think he's just like trying to mess with the other team when he does that. I don't think he's like trying to hurt anyone. I think he's just like, I'm just gonna throw this ball at him as he's out of bounds. I don't know. It's weird. Anyways, sorry. I thought that'd be a fun little note
I
to
hope.
ask. Yeah.
I hope not. Like
No, I
I'm
don't want
all
to see a fight. I don't want to see a fight. I want this to be just good, competitive, fun, chirpiness. Like, yeah, have some fun, messing with each other a little bit, but let's not cross the line.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like these teams have a lot of history. I remember Jonathan Isaac. He had like a famous quote. I think it was like last year, that the Pistons are trying to be like us. Like they're trying to be
Yeah.
that physical basketball team, which keeps popping up on my timeline. I feel like there's just like so much similarities to like how these teams play.
Yeah.
That doesn't help that Jamal Mosley and JB Bickerstaff are boys too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like the best friend thing. Like there's so many similarities between the Pistons and the Magic, which I'm surprised like more like the Pistons and Magic fans aren't a little bit closer, but like just scrolling timelines, like nothing but shit talking and just like memes and trolling.
Yeah. Which is great.
Yeah. I appreciate you coming on for the last hour, but I do want to give you the floor where people can follow you, follow Orlando Magic HQ, because I see you guys post so much content. Like I'm not a Magic fan, but like following you guys on Twitter, I get interacted. I was like, man, like they post some really good ass content.
Thank you. We try. We try. Yeah, I appreciate coming on. I love doing it. Like, if this is a 7-game series, let's make sure we do another one of these throughout the series. I'd be more than happy to talk some more Magic basketball with you and some more, Detroit Pistons ball, and let's have some fun. You can find me. I do most of my interaction with people on Twitter. My personal handle is Steven Magic HQ, Steven with a PH. And then if you want to see where we like post our content and all that stuff, it's Orlando Magic HQ, or the ad is O Magic HQ. So, and that's on all platforms, Instagram, Twitter, all the good stuff. So you can find us there.
Well, we appreciate it. We will see you guys tomorrow immediately after the Pistons play the Magic. Hopefully is a Pistons victory and we're not down 0-2, because you might see me crash out. But we'll see you guys tomorrow around the same time. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Peace.